control break statements. Control break statements. Control break statement. Control break statements are also known as control break statements are also known as control break events. They are also known as control break events. They are used to control loop. They are used to control loop, or we can say that they are used to control the data flow in the loop, or you can say that they are used to control the data flow in the loop. Control break statement. The control break statement starts with at and they ends with and at. They start with at and they ends with and at. Okay. So there is certain prerequisite for our control break statements. Prerequisite for control break statements. There are certain prerequisites also. The first one is control break statement. Break statement should be applied in a loop. In a loop, control break statement should be applied in a loop, and your internal table should be in the sorted order. These are the prerequisites for your control break statement. Control break statements are used to control your loop. They are also known as control break events, and you can use to control the data flow in the loop. They will always start with at and they will always end with and at. There are certain prerequisites also for your control break statement, right? Control break statement should be applied in a loop, and the internal table must be in the sorted order. Okay. So types of control break statements. Types of control break statement. At first, it always triggers for the first record of the loop of the internal table. When your first record will be processed inside your loop, then your at first event will trigger. Similar to that, we have at last. At first, after we have at last, it triggers for the last record of the internal table. Then we have at new field name. Add new field name. So it triggers for the first record of a group having same value for the specified field name in the loop. For the same value for the specified field name in the loop, at new, it triggers for the first record of a group having the same value for the specified field name in the group. We'll see what it means. Then we have at last new field name. At end of at end of field name, at end of field name. So it triggers for the last record of a group having the same values for the specified field name in the loop, having the same value for the specified field name in the loop. Is it clear? Four kind of control break events, control break statements at first. So to show the implementation of it, how we can use them, what I will do, I will take example. My system has been logged out. Let me reopen. Z control break statements. Control break statements. Okay. Let's say I'm displaying my project data now. Let's say I'm displaying my project data. Project, my column names that are there, and it's a data element, project ID, type data element, project ID, project name, type data element, project name, end of ty project, end of ty project. Syntax check, activate. I will define internal table and work area again. So data keyword, project, type table of ty underscore project, ls project, type ty project. This is how I will define. Then we need variable, so variable and select option, so lv employee id, or I will bring the same code from my previous screen, previous program. Let's bring there, change, yeah, this one need here. Then in startup selection, I will display my project details data. Project details data. So this is the code of displaying my project. Just bring there, right? Select employee ID. It will be changed to in SEMP ID. Structure, internal table and work area declaration, taking the value from the user, then writing the query on the our project table and simply displaying it. This is how we'll display the data, right? If I have to display the data, this is how I will display. All of them are getting displayed. But now I have the question here. I have the question here. How will our control break statement are going to respond here? Let me go and display the SM30 for it. ZAR project details. We have four kind of control break statement. We have four kinds of control break statement. At first, it will always trigger for the first record of the internal table. When the first record of your internal table will come, your control break statement will trigger. So in a loop, it will trigger only at one time, only at one time. Then we have at last, it will trigger for the last record. It will trigger for the last record. Only at the last record. only at the last record. It will trigger only at the last record of the internal table. So what is the last record of our data of our table? 105, this one, right? So this event, this control break statement will only trigger for this one, only for this one. This will only trigger for this one, this record. Is it clear?
Mhm.
At first and at last. Then we have another one, add new field name, new field name. So it triggers for the first record of a group having same value for the specified field name in the loop. That is, can you see this is the first record of this 101 group? Can
Mhm.
you see this 102 is the first record of your 102 group? Can you see 103 is the first record of 103 group? Same for 104 and 105 also. So for the group of values of these things, the first record is 101, 102 and 103. So for them, this at new will trigger. Every time this new group will come, it at new will trigger. At new will trigger. Same thing is for at end of. So every time your first group will old or complete, it is going to trigger every time. Now it's last one, the last value of
Mhm.
every group at end. If you want to check, you can write here logic. So before that, we need to sort our internal table. This is a prerequisite. So we are required to sort. I will simply sort my LT project by employee ID. I will sort it. Now in it, I will use all this event at first. It will always start with at and it will end with and at. So at first event, I will display here write statement. Let's say I'm displaying at first event has been triggered. At first event has been triggered. Let's go and check. Execute. How many time it is getting displayed? Only one, right? Only one. Only one.
Mhm.
Then we will go for at last. Let's go and check at last also. So at last and at right at last event has been triggered. Trigger. Okay. Now if you want to check, you can go for breakpoint, execute when this at last event is triggering. Desktop 3. Mm, at last only. Why this data is not coming here? Okay. So inside this control break statement, data is not showing, but can you see the data is 105 only, right?
Mhm.
105 only. So this guy is only trigger. So you can, if you want to perform certain operations when your value will be last, then you can use these events, this control break statement. Totally up to you when you are going to use them. My job is to only explain here, right? Then we have
Mhm.
at new and at end of. Let's go and check them also. So at new for your employee ID and at doesn't matter whether how you are going to write it. It doesn't matter. If you want to write it after at last, it will be, but it still work in the same way. Add new employee ID and at right add new event has been triggered. Activate. Go and check. Execute. Execute. See how many times? How many times at event is triggered? 5 times.
5 times. Mm-hmm.
How many call data we have? Five. Five groups. Five groups. So
Mm-hmm.
for each group, one time it is triggering. For each group, one time it is triggering. It is triggering for each group one time. Go for execute button. Execute and check. Desktop 3. And you can check. This one is triggering only for this thing. 101. We have 101 value now. So when you will have new employee ID, every time you will have new employee ID, this event will trigger. For each group, this guy is going to be triggering. See?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing for your add end of also. Similar to add new, you have add end of employee ID and add and right add end of event has been triggered. Triggered. Activate. Activate and check. Execute. Execute. Now you see, first time our at first event is triggering. At the last we have at end of event is triggering. At the last we have at event. At end of event has been triggered. But in between, at new, at end of, 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 at new. And then see, at last we have two events. At
Mm-hmm.
last and at end of, both are triggering, right? So when we have
Mm-hmm.
the last record, when we had the last record, then it is following only the way that you have written. When you had the last record, so for the last record, this one triggers at the first time because it is written above, right? It is written above this one. That is why it is displaying. If you will write it in last, so for your at last, this one will be displayed in the last now. Pretty printer, activate, execute. See, now it is coming at and after at end of, because for the last both of them are triggering, so the one which is written above, it will be displayed above. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is your control break statements. Now it's totally up to you how you are going to use all these events that we have seen: classical report events, classical interactive report events, control break statement. Okay, these are all the events of our classical report.
Mm-hmm.
With this, we will move on to our last topic of this chapter: field symbols. Field symbols. Field symbols. Field symbols. Field symbols are the placeholders for the data object, like variables, work area, etc. Field symbols are the variables, are like the placeholders. They are not the variables. They do not acquire any space. So unlike your variable or unlike your data object, what is a variable? It is a data object, right? So unlike variables or work area or any of the data object, they do not acquire any space, any physical space, any physical space. They do not acquire any physical space, but they point to the content of the data object, to the content of the data object. So to understand this term work field symbol, I will take example. So you have some amount in your banks. Everybody has a bank account, right? Everybody has a bank account, and you can access that bank from different part of the country, from the different part of the country. And if you are doing any kind of transaction, it can be either offline or online. That transaction is changing the amount value from your bank, right? But your actual bank headquarter is only at a single location, right? It has quarters at the different part, but its main headquarter is only at a single location where your actual data is saved. So every time if you are performing any kind of transaction from any part of the world, it is reflecting in your bank account. Are you directly going to that headquarter to perform the change, or are you able to perform any kind of change from any place, right? What you have the actual, you have the reference of that particular location, right? You have the credential of that location of your account. You have the credential, using that you are able to make the changes. Same thing, you can relate this field symbol as the same thing. This right will acquire the reference. It is not any data object which will store some data, but instead what it is doing, it is referring to or pointing to the content of the data object. It can be variable, work area, or internal table. It can be anything. It will just point to its data. So if we will make any change in the field symbol, it will reflect in your actual variables, work area in the internal tables. Okay, they are the new concept of your 7.4 syntax. So syntax for it is, we define using field symbols keyword. We define them using field symbols keyword. Field symbols, and it is written like this way: in less than and greater than. In between less than and greater than, it is written like this way. The name of the field symbol is always enclosed between this less than and greater than sign. Okay. All right, so let's see how we are going to use them. Okay, let's see how we are going to use them. So I will create a program. I will easily create a program to display this. I will create this program. I will log in. SE38 Z field symbol. Create button. Field symbols in ABAP. Execute. Execute. Now think about it. What I'm doing, I am here, let's say, defining a variable. LV name, let's say its length is 30, type character, value, some value, Kumar. I am defining a variable. Now I will define a field symbol. Field symbol name is always written in less than greater than. So let's say I'm naming it field symbol name. I'm also defining it as a character. So 3 steps we are required to follow for our field symbol. The first one is define the field symbol. First step, define the field symbol. Then what we do, we assign the, which is the second step, assign the data object to the field symbol. So here we have the variable. So assign the variable to the field symbol. Field symbol. Assign the variable to the field symbol. So I will do the assigning. Assign my variable name, which is LV name, to my field symbol, which is FS name. Assign it. This is my second step. Then we have the third step, check check if assigning is done or not. Check if the assigning is done or not. If it is done, then you can perform any kind of operation that you want to perform. So first we are required to go and check. So I will check if fs name is assigned correctly. If it is assigned correctly, then I will do any kind of operation. Okay, 3 steps.
Mhm.
Define your field symbol. Here I'm defining it again of type character, and I am assigning my local variable name to the field symbol. Now I am checking if it is assigned, then I will perform any kind of operation that I want. Let's say I'm changing the value of my field symbol to Amrit Raj. Now I have two questions from you, Mukul. If I will display the value of LV name, what will be displayed? Or if I will display the value of field symbol, what will be displayed?
LV name will remain Atul Kumar.
Hmm.
FS name will also be Amrit Raj.
So LV name will be Atul Kumar and FS name will be Amrit Raj, right?
Mhm.
Did you understand the concept of field symbol? They are not actual data object. They are just pointing to the content of the data object. Where does this field symbol is pointing? Where does this field symbol is pointing? It is pointing to local variable. It has the address of this one. Sorry, this LV name. It has the address of this LV name. So if you are changing something here, this is not a object, this is just a reference of your variable. So if you are making any change here, the
Mhm.
change is also reflect here also. So if you will display your field symbol indirectly, you are displaying your LV name by itself.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
only this value will be displayed if this assigning is correct. Go and check. I will put here a debugger, line 19. Go for execute button. Go for execute button. Desktop 3. Now I will check it. So at this moment, the value of field symbol is Atul Kumar. Assigning is correct. That is why we are getting size of RC is 0. So now I will go for line 20. Line 20. And I will click on execute. What is the value of FS name? Amrit Raj. Now what will be the value of LV name also? Hmm? Same value, same value, right? Same will be displayed. This is beauty of field symbol. They are not actual data object. They are not acquiring any space, unlike your variable or work areas or any data object that you have seen till now. Your field symbol do not acquire any kind of space, but instead they have the actual content of your data object. They have the reference of your data object. They have the actual reference of your data object. Is it clear? Hmm? Is it clear, Mukul? Are you there? Is it clear, Mukul? You are not audible.
Oh, can you hear me?
Uh, yeah, you're audible. I'm saying, is it clear?
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I was disconnected for a while. I'm now back.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
saying that if I will change anything from here, it will reflect in this variable name also.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So here we are taking our field symbol as a replacement of local variable, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Now we can also use your field symbol as a replacement of work area. With the work area, there is a problem. With our work area, everything is every time we are required to define the work area. Work area is actually taking some space. So instead of using work area, we can create a field symbol and we can directly refer to the content of our internal table. Field symbol will refer to the content to each row now. Let's check how it is going to work. So I will go and bring the code of our displaying employee data first. Classical report ABAP. I will bring it. Let's bring this structure. Let's display the employee data in the same way that we are displaying till now. I will define the internal table. Then we need select options. Then we need startup selection and content writing, and then displaying the data. This is how we were displaying till now. Pretty printer using work area, but with your field symbol coming into the picture, we can do the changes. What we can do, we can define a field symbol. We can define a field symbol now. Here I will define field symbol. So field symbols, let's say I'm naming it FS employee, type TY employee. Okay, now I'm defining this field symbol of type this structure, the same way your work area is defined. So now we will be able to process our record of your internal table using this field symbol. We don't need the work area. Okay, we don't need the work area. So instead of this looping, I can do one thing now. I can make some changes in it. Instead of this one, now I can use my field symbol. So assigning your field symbol name. Field symbol name. Check if your assigning is clear, is assigned. If it is assigned correctly, then I will display my data. So write field symbol, employee ID, employee name, department, and at last manager. Text check, activate, execute. Let's check. Are we able to get all this data in the same way that we were getting? In the same way that we were getting. But now what is the beauty of this field symbol? What is the beauty of this field symbol? It is not taking any kind of space like this one. It is not taking any space. We don't need work area now since we have the field symbol. We are directly referring to the rows of internal table. So here it is just assigning its first row. It is just now this field symbol will refer to the first row of your internal table, and then you are performing this operation. So if you will make any changes here, it will be directly saved here. You don't need to modify, use the modify operation now. You don't need to use the modify operation now. You don't need to use the modify operation now. If you want to see the changes, you can see from here. Let's say I'm making some change. So if FS employee employee ID is equal to, let's say, 101. For 101, I will make some change. I will change the value of manager. So FS employee manager is equal to, let's say, XYZ. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
XYZ. So what is happening here? Now you are directly changing the rows of your internal table because this is just a reference. So the same thing will be displayed now. The same thing will be displayed now. This can be a problem also for you that the direct data will be changed. Can you see here manager name is changed now? Earlier we were using modify operation, right? Modify statement if we wanted to change the content, but we don't need it now. With the field symbol coming into the picture, we can do lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
We can do lots of things. Clear?
Yeah, got it.
Hmm? Got it? So this is your field symbol, and with this our chapter ends. This second chapter, your ABAP programming, classical report programming is done.